I don't know if that's more centered. Oh well. How's everyone doing? All right. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it. Let me got to pull up chat really quickly. Let me do that really quickly. That looks to be doing well. Got that up. All right. All right. All right. Let's get to some coding. What do we want to do? So I was setting up the I'm gonna call rest endpoint at this point. Um, oh boy, yeah. Um, so let's finish doing that. The one thing that I needed to do was get Swagger to be set up. So I started to do this. Now I didn't use Gorilla Mux. That's what I usually use. But Gorilla Mux, if you guys don't know, Gorilla Mux basically didn't find any maintainers. I actually thought myself about trying to get into it to maintain it, but it wasn't a project that I felt passionately about. It's not a bad project, but if you're going to maintain something for free, I feel like you really need to have a passion for it. And that was just not something that I had. I think they did a really good job, and unfortunately, they were the best that I know of in Go's ecosystem. Uh, the problem that I have with Jin is it doesn't actually use the standard network context. So if you look here and see this, it's this Jin handler function, and it's this Jin context that you're passing around. So the nice thing about Gorilla Mux was it was literally just the standard library that you were passing around, and it made it a whole lot nicer. Now, that being said, we're going to use Jin because it seems like the most complete framework that I can use today at this point. I was doing some research. The other thing that we're going to do with Jin, and we're going to try to get set up today, is this Jin Swagger, Jin middleware to automatically generate RESTful API documentation with Swagger 2.0. Is it really just 2.0? They don't have Swagger 3.0? That's kind of a little lame. Let's see. I copied and paste. Cool. So I guess we can just use the swag command line now. Swag in it. Let's see. Run the swag in your Go project root path. So I'll go parse the command and generate the required files, the docs. Okay, so let's do that. All right. I mean, and right now we just have like some 501 not implemented return functions, so not really sure what it's going to be doing. Download the Gen Swagger by using import the following code. We don't need to do this. If you're using Go modules, you can just do this and then go mod tidy. That's what I generally do. Uh, import these and do what with them? Okay. Well, let's import this. We'll just do that here, I guess. That's going to be the problem. If I save this, it's going to remove them. But maybe if we do these, it will keep it. Let's try that. They said middleware, but we didn't put it in the middleware anywhere. So, yeah, I don't know. This would be under API v1. Yeah, and then the router would be applications. I think that was just it. We can check at the main here. Let's see. No, it's just apps. My bad. Apps. It was a while ago. And let's see. We're doing the create. So this would be a post. So nothing here. Just going to be a post to this. Accepts JSON. Produces JSON. Success. We'll just leave this as this for right now. Create an application. Create application. Okay, so this is still getting rid of our one include. I don't know how he expected this to work. Let's go mod tidy. Yeah, it's gonna complain about this too. I'm not sure I understand this. This is the middleware, but he never has us put the middleware in anywhere. Okay. I am not. I don't think either of those belong there. I think is at best maybe they go in the main function. At best, maybe they go here. All right. Then let's see if it generated anything useful. We have our docs, we have our Swagger stuff, so that looks good. Now, I guess my question is, does it generate it off the code, or does it generate it off what I put in there? Is going to be my next big question. Okay, let me see the stuff. Okay, so this is their base path. Actually, I did notice that I did this wrong here. I do really want this to be like this. Yeah. All right. Do we need to do this docs? Not really sure, but we'll throw this in there. Okay. I think this is what's pulling in this right here, our docs. So that should, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's run this and see. Let's just run this and see if there's a Swagger hosted, because there should be. We'll open that, but there should be a Swagger hosted. Yeah, index. There we go. All right. Localhost 8080 Swagger index.html. Page not found. I feel lied to. Well, that's a shame. Did it? It did. Okay, so it did actually get it. And it kind of makes sense. Like, none of these are that. So I get why my thing returned that. Huh. Hey, bud, can you stop doing that with your feet, please? Thank you. Pumpkin's gonna come over and give you some company. Hey, bud, can you stop doing that with your feet, please? Malik, are you listening? Okay, you just did the same thing right after I asked you to stop. Pumpkin's gonna come over. Look at that. Oh, wait. He's using this Gen Swagger. Oh. I didn't do this part. I didn't do this part. He just does this all on his own, lonesome, right out here. Oh, wait. Not right there. Not right there. Right here. What was his Swagger files? Oh, it's just this. This import, he said to import. We didn't import that one. Okay. And this is not R. This, I do believe, is router. I don't, this is probably the one biggest thing that I differ from Golang people. Actually, what is my title? I forgot to update my titles. Let me do that really quickly. This is Kubernetes service. There we go. There we go. All right. So now maybe let's restart this. Okay. So at least we have a swagger. At least we have a swagger. Not a good one, but it's a one. Okay. Let's also check out a little bit more. So I think it's powered by these comments, which is a little bit of a shame, honestly. I'm not a big fan of, I wish it was powered by the actual code. So in languages that have more, so honestly, this is where C sharp or Java makes more sense to make like an API like this, because they'll use reflection and they'll just generate it actually based off of what it is. And that's really powerful. This isn't nearly as powerful because this is just me defining the Swagger doc near the code. It's not actually the code defining what it is. That's now the one thing is I actually have here this. Let's see. Example, hello world. That's another group. Hello world. Yep. So that's the router path. Mine is at apps, and it's actually it's a post. Yeah. I don't know if I need to rerun this. Probably do. Do I need to run Swagger init again? Like that? I don't know. Good sir, I have up. Oh, you know what I was also looking at? Let's look here in their example. No, they don't do anything to this v1, right? This is just a group. Now, my question is, I think what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to do this, which might be a little gross. I'm just going to need you to hold on with me. We're going to try this. This says I need the import in here. I need the import. Why are you upset? Oh, okay. But I'm not actually using anything out of it. It's gross, but that still didn't get this to work. So what am I doing wrong? We won't stay on this too long if this is proving not to be awesome. The other thing we could do is find a different, we were on Gin Swagger. Yeah, this is what we were using was Swagos. Hmm. Okay, here we go. Install swag. Oh, you've got to run swag in it. It seems like. So let me try that. Let me try that. I forgot to try that. Swag in it. So do we need to do this each time? And I'm guessing the answer is yes. Not necessarily a. So there, it parsed our annotations. Okay. Okay. All right. Again, I would like it to be actually what my code is, but um yeah. This is fine. It at least lives by it. At least lives by it. Could you turn that down just a few notches? It's fine to have some sound. That was just a little loud. The sand pit seems to be kind of loud. Ah, sizzling is the worst. All right. So now we just need to have a GitHub action to run. So the one nice thing that we can do is now this requires us to have like pre-check-in things, but we can also check that they were done. We can have a GitHub action that runs swag in it and make sure that it doesn't change. Although init seems weird. Oh, there's FMT. That's kind of nice. In init, is there a way to like just tell it to generate the difference files? Hmm. It doesn't look to like we just change the output directory and then do a diff on them. That seems a little bit of extra work. I was hoping that it would give us a way to just check if there was changes, but not actually do anything. That's what I would like in the CI. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Git add. Let's actually see back here. Git add. Added Swagger to the API. All right. The other thing, some of the other things that we need to start working on in the next week is going to be testing this, which one of the things I was starting to work on is tilt support. Tilt. No, I forgot. You have to search Kubernetes. Um, yeah, tilt. Here we go. I think I have tilt installed. Yeah, I do. Cool beans. So we're going to start here in the base with a tilt file, as all good projects do. I forget what. I think it's just tilt file. I think it's literally just tilt file. I think, but we'll let's see. I met this guy, Jason D. Tiberius. He's a cool guy. Read the docs. Check out the docs. Ooh, okay. Let's delete cluster. Let's make sure we have a cluster that's all set. I like starting a dev day with a new cluster. One, it means that your dev tools are all up to date. But two, you don't get this. I mean, unless if you're in the middle of debugging something, you don't get this dirty state from the day before. And we have this nice script that's going to do it for us. While that's going, we'll start writing our tilt file. It's like Python, if I remember. I feel like it's like Python. Yeah, it's Starlark, a simplified dialect of Python. This is what we were looking for. I don't It's a little bit weird until you get used to it. But I think we'll get used to it just fine. Let's get some tilt installed. Uh, yeah, tilt language parser. All right. There we go. So what we want to do with this is I want to make it a little bit easier for other people to start working on this. And so there's a bunch of things that get built and run in Kubernetes, especially we have an operator, at least one operator in here. So this container runner, this builder is not going to be an operator, but this container runner is an operator by design. And so that actually has to run in Kubernetes. Without Kubernetes, it's kind of useless because it uses Kubernetes for its brain. Um, and then we also have this API which runs in a container in Kubernetes. It doesn't need Kubernetes, but if you're trying to do something like the UI, the front end, you don't actually want to need to know how to run this. And so this is where I'm trying to set it up really nice. We have this script that sets up a kind cluster that's all configured, ready for the things that we need to do. And then the next step here is to have this tilt file. So all the developer needs to do is go tilt up. Tilt up. And tilt up is going to start running all of the stuff that's defined in there. Now, it also lets you like visually see. So if you go here and look, it's going to let you see your deployment. Now it's red. We're also way zoomed in. This is, whoa. All right. Because our tilt file doesn't have anything in it. So it doesn't really, it's kind of upset. So we're going to work on that tilt file a little. This is meta programming right now. I just wanted to get this done because I know that there's some people in the community that would like to start working on the UI. The API is super simple. They should be able to do that in Go if they want to help with that as well. But they don't want to have to work on all the other things. But it would be nice if all those other things worked and they could kind of test full stack. So that's what Tilt brings. It's kind of a nice local development environment. The other nice thing is all your deployments will be listed on here, which we'll hopefully get to today. And you'll be able to click on them and see the logs of that thing running in the Docker container, which running Docker commands, or not Docker commands, but Kubernetes commands is fine and easy, but this is even easier. So let's get into this tilt file. I don't remember how to write tilt files. We need to look it up. This is, Docker build. So this is going to build a Docker file for a local application. Oh, so we're going to need to make a Docker file. Okay. That's actually what we need to do now. For this, we need to build a Docker file. Monta, how are you? And Monta, if I am correct, I could be wrong. You are Ant No More Overflow on Discord, right? Right? Or are you a different person? I'm sorry, I'm trying to marry up Discord to Twitch users. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't crazy on that regard. So I'm doing some work here for you, hopefully. I know that you were looking at doing the UI, and I have the API here, which hopefully the API should be fairly easy for anybody, even if you're not a Go person, if you don't love Go and use Go. It should be easy enough to get into. You have your controllers and you can click on a controller and it should be super simple. I mean, they're not implemented yet, but basically you can just return the struct here. Should be super simple for just about anybody to feel useful in it. We have it generating Swagger based off of this stuff. And now what I want to do is I want to make it where you can just run tilt up and it starts running all of this stuff in the backend for you. So yeah, that's basically what we're up to. Trying to make the developer experience a little bit nicer. This is for myself too. So all right, so let's build this Docker file for this. This is going to be a Go, so we'll do like from not base image. We need it from, there's a Golang. We're on 1.20. We want 1.20. We don't want Alpine. We want. Do they have a Buster? Yes, I think. All right, we'll do that. Cool. And then we're going to do working directory app. Looks good. We need this capitalized. Workder. There we go. Nice. Then we're going to copy that. Very nice, Copilot. Very nice. We just need the Go stuff. You know what? Honestly, it's easier to do this. Boom. I think that's better, right? It's yeah. Anyways, then we can run run go mod download. Thank you. And then we can finish copying everything over. There we go. And then we're just going to, should we do this in make? I go back and forth because you can just, we're just going to build it here. Run, go, build, let's see. Okay, so we don't need, we're just going to go O API. Yeah, there we go. That's better. This is the output of the Go build, and we're just going to build it locally. No reason to get too fancy, because also we're just going to copy this over. We're going to do a multi-step. So we're doing this on Buster. I think Buster has a Slim. Let's check that out. Docker or Docker Hub Buster Slim. Are you going to create a Docker Compose? I wasn't planning on it. I can. Okay, so I'll tell you why I wasn't planning on it, and I'll tell you what will make Docker Compose hard, but not impossible. So we can do a Docker Compose. Do they have a Slim? I think. Yeah, they do have a Slim, so we can do Buster Slim. All right. Okay, so the reason I wasn't planning on building a Docker Compose is this. This right here, the API is just a Go container that uses Gin for the API. We can talk about why Gin, because I really like Gorilla Mux, but I'm not using Gorilla Mux because, again, we can talk about it if you guys are interested. But this right here, the container runner is a Kubernetes operator, which means it can't really run outside of Kubernetes, which means it can't run in Docker Compose really well because it actually relies on Kubernetes. Now, to do a Docker Compose, then we just have to have a mock container runner, basically. And then if we had a mock container runner that everything could talk to, that would work fine. But until we have a mock container runner, the easiest way to do this is to have this tilt file, which means all you have to do, or all you'll need to do in the future, hopefully, and you might be our test guinea pig, is this right here. Kind delete cluster. My plan, my hope and goal is to get where all you have to do is do this hack start dev. When it's done running, you do tilt up, and tilt up installs all the things that need to be there. And then you can work locally on whichever local service you want, and see it in the Kubernetes cluster. That's the idea. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. I mean, this is partially for myself. I won't even like state that I'm doing this for the community. I am partially doing it for the community. But I mean, it's also a really nice way because basically the other thing that will happen is this will watch your files. So if we go in here and change something in the API, it's going to actually rebuild the container and redeploy it into the Kubernetes cluster, which is pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Okay, while that's working, while this is starting our new development experience, we're going to do let's see. We'll put a comment in here. What is the comment though? This is like the release container. Um, the real container. Okay, I don't know. Maybe not. So this will be from Debian Slim, Buster Slim. Perfect. And then we're just going to copy over the builder. I don't know that we need to app install anything. This should be, I think it should be fine. So we'll just do copy from builder app API to app API. I think we'll just do to API here. I think this will just be in the root. Should we throw it in app? Let's just throw it in app. Okay, we'll throw it in app. So again, and I'm not even opposed to eventually creating mocks for some of these things. Like very basic mocks. Again, I think you can way over mock things, but I think it could be useful, especially in a complex system like this. Especially like the API has a bunch of things that aren't creating containers, and so it would be super valid to run it in a way where there is no backend that creates a container, and you're just testing user configuration and user you know RBAC and things like that. And I think that's super valid, but also it's work to update that and support that. So I myself wasn't going to put forth the work to do that. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do this. Do I have to create? I don't think I think this copy will create the app folder, so we'll be fine. And then we'll just CMD it right here, like that. All right. I think that will be our base file. I think that will work fine. Now what we can do is we can use tilt. We can do let's see, this Docker build. Let's see if they have a nice example. I was going to copy and paste it, but I don't think so. So we'll just try to look at this and see if we can't Docker build this. In our tilt file, we're going to do Docker build. All right, so we have a reference string and a context. So our reference is going to be in API. This is like, oh wait, no, Docker file. I thought a reference was I don't know what this reference is. This documentation is rough. Do they have? Oh wait. Here's the tilt API. Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, this is much better. Let's see. Docker build. Where is it? Oh wait, maybe it's in the tilt file. Docker build. There's another reason to have a mock. People who are developing using your service will want a mock up for their services. That's an interesting idea. I think which services they wouldn't necessarily want a mock of our thing that runs our container. They would more want a mock of the APIs that they use themselves. I think that's a different mock, but I think it's a good idea though. All right, so here we go. Ref, name for this image. Oh, okay. Okay. I got it. This is just a name. Uh right, the API for the email service or the API for the container service or the API for I would love to build like a backend as a service for them. So not only does it handle infrastructure, but it handles things like users, if they want, or and authentication. And yep, I agree. Okay, but I do think that's a maybe separate mock from the ones I was talking about. I was talking about like our internal things, and very small. Let's see. This is API service. We'll just call it that. Now we have the context path to use as the Docker build context. Our context is going to be API. I think that's what we want. And then our Docker file is going to be that right there. Do we have to? Is there anything else? Build args. I don't think we need any build args. Yeah, I think we can just leave it at that. Okay, let's just save that. 1 second. We need something else to deploy that then. Tilt. I believe we need something. They need. Okay. They need a quick start. Oh, there's a tilt file snippets. All right, Docker build, Docker file, Docker build. This is what we need because just because we built the container doesn't actually mean that it's actually going to deploy it. So we need to build a deployment YAML for this. We'll call this. So we need a deployment and a service for it. I am not going to write this by hand. We can also have kubectl make a deployment for us. You can just go here and copy and paste this. If I was in the, I don't know, kubectl does a pretty good job as well. But all right, probably should have just done kubectl because it would have been a little bit faster. Probably I wouldn't have to change as much stuff here. Yeah, okay, so let's do the next one with kubectl just so that people can see how that's done. You can do that here. Let's jump into the API and deployment, and then yeah, so here we have the deployed. We'll create a service.yaml, and you do it like this: kubectl, or you can just do k if you have it alias. Kubectl create service, and then we're going to need YAML dry run equal client. And then we'll just output this to a service.yaml, and we need to do app name. You know what? Let's copy this. Let's stop kubectl create service. All right. Well, this shouldn't work. Well, wait. Why is that unknown? That is 100% known. Oh, wait. It's complaining about dry run? Yeah, dry run is 100% one of them. And client. Wait, did I misspell client? Oh, I didn't actually look at that. Oh, okay. So it, fine. Okay, that, whatever. I thought it was complaining about dry run. Well, it did complain about dry run. Unknown flag dry run. But it was, okay, whatever. Well, now you guys can learn how not to yeah, that's what it needs to do, is create a type of service. So let's see. All right. We'll go back here, flip the I and the E. Why is it still complaining about dry run though? Oh, because it need it. The reason is it's wanting. All right. So exactly one name is required. Kubectl create. There we go. New note. Okay. At least one TCP port. Yeah, I forgot about that. Good point. Let's see. We'll just do 8080 to 8080. Cool. Now we should have a service. Okay, so this has an app selector of API service, which I think is what, yeah, we named here. So that should all work out well here. Take out the creation timestamp. We don't need that. I just did node port. This is kind of weird. This is very weird. It should work, but it's weird. Yeah, because we should be able to access this. Are you doing node selectors? Not right yet. No. But the Kubernetes cluster, kind cluster should allow you to do a node port. We haven't deployed anything, so let's actually just tilt these up. So if we have a tilt file here, wait, we had tilt snippets. Yeah, k8s YAML, that's what it's called. So what we'll do is we'll jump over here and we'll deploy the two of those things. This was a good guess, but not quite. Not quite what I was hoping. And then all we have left is the service YAML. All right, then we should be able to do tilt up. No, I made a mistake. I made another mistake. All right, now we can tilt up. All right, doesn't like the tilt file. All right, so error in Docker build for parameter build args. Okay. You tell me it's error now. I guess I don't need this. I thought I was looking at the API and it said I did. All right. Cool. So you can see like this is one of the cool things about Tilt is it already picked up that I made that change and saved it, and it's already building the container image. So it's building the container image, and then it will go and apply the things to the Kubernetes cluster. I mean, if my Docker container would build. I busted that out and didn't even test it. That's fantastic. Okay, so what did it complain about here? Image build process, bin go build API. My code didn't compile? No. No. Impossible. I just wanted to copy that. Impossible. Oh. Yeah, okay, so that's a pain. Whenever Docker builds, it causes my internet at home to die slightly. It downloads everything as fast as possible. What I need to figure out is a way to. I'm sure that I can configure my Docker to only build at a certain speed or only download, throttle it somehow. I don't know. I've never looked into Docker options like that, but that is a thing, an unfortunate thing. Now, the other thing is it shouldn't download these. These should be cached now. So it shouldn't be that bad all the time. All right, why was this what Oh, okay, because it's just wrong. Let's update this. I think Copilot did this for me. It's that right there. I do a lot of stuff in command, which made it feel right, but yeah. Oh, I did stop tilt. Stream might lag. This is good. I haven't dealt with Kubernetes for like a month. It makes me sad. Okay, so this is pretty cool. It has it up. It's debugging. And I think it should be accessible. The other thing that you can do is you can actually proxy through tilt in the tilt file. I don't remember exactly how to do it. So you don't have to have this service thing, especially if it's not. But we should be able to now get all. We should be able to see our stuff in. Actually, this should be deployed in the default, so we should just do k get all. We don't want all namespaces, and we should see our API service. Cool beans, and our node port. Now let's see if we can actually access this locally. Let's go here. Go localhost 8080 swagger index.html. All right, so that is not working. Wait. So I'm going to actually pull tilt out on its own screen so we can just flip between it and whatever. So this isn't necessarily working. I thought that we said to put it on a... Oh, we're listening inside the container. 1 second. This is the local. Both the target port and our 8080. Did it bind to a weird port on me? So in the container, it should be 8080, and on my PC, it should be 8080, but I don't think that's what it's doing. It is kind. So maybe it's a kind problem. Yeah, I would hope that wouldn't work. But this shouldn't work. That's the wrong port, just altogether. Did I look over something? Oh, here we go. Now, you can see just updating that file caused the API service to start updating. Pretty cool. I really do like Tilt. I don't think that it's like perfect, but it has some pretty nice things done to it. Nope. I didn't fix it. Do you use Argo or Flux? Generally Argo. Flux is fine. Maybe we'll give Flux another shot. Wait. What is this saying? Why is it saying 5005? Is it doing something weird on me? Oh wait, I didn't change this back to 8080. Yeah, that's not working, but did it actually put it at 5005? Ha. Ha. All right. So, we're getting somewhere. This is returning something. Let's see if it's from our service. I don't actually. I think it should say that it hit it. You worked with Flux? Well, I was trying not to port forward, but we can just port forward and solve this. Let's see. Where is their port forward? Yeah. There's but I haven't used Tilt a lot. I haven't been doing this stuff a ton. I think I can get rid of that, and then we'll save that, and we'll see how that runs. Less than 5 seconds ago, redeployed it all to Kubernetes, and that would put it at 9,000. We'll see if that's true. Ah, there we go. So maybe that's the easier way. It seemed like, and this is one of the problems with like kind and whatnot. It's a little not, it's a little off your beaten path for like a node port because it's, yeah. Um. mm. Okay, I actually check this out. I have these things. If you look at our hack directory, I set this up to allow us to have a node port for our Istio. So if you look at our kind config, I do have, but I have very specific container and host paths. I'm not even sure this is 100% correct, but as soon as we try, we'll know. And the reason I have Istio set up at all is because the reason we're doing Istio at all, so yeah, this is the Istio port. Istio ingress, I think, should be able to handle our authentication. And so when we want to go and start testing authentication, when we get to a place where we're doing that, Istio should actually handle that for all incoming things. And it goes to like trying to get rid of bad requests earliest on in your stack. So Istio will be one of the earliest things in our stack. So if we can reject a request based off of its authentication, we might as well reject a request based off of its authentication right there. So otherwise, most people shouldn't need to, if you're like wanting to test the API and stuff locally, you shouldn't need to have Istio. But I do want to have Istio configured and ready to use, just because I'd like to be able to test that stuff locally. So, create ingress and port forward the ingress, then add a URL to the exact host. You're not allowed to use the wildcard. Okay. Yeah, we'll figure some of this out. I don't have all the answers here. We'll figure some of it out as we go. I haven't done this for a while, so this is good for me. We will need wildcard. Yeah, we will need wildcard. Not necessarily for local debug testing, but all right. Now we have that. Here's our API. I'm thinking in the API, I also create the CLI for the API. I think they'll share a lot of the same. Maybe they won't. Maybe we won't do that. We can also put a Postman file in here. That's a pretty nice way to Postman is a pretty nice way to do testing in GitHub Actions as well. I'll start a new project here. No. I don't want a new request. I want a new collection. Oh, this is the button. New collection. All right. There we go. So we can start filling this out, and we can. The nice thing is you can export this JSON, and then we can just put that inside of the API, so people that want it can have it, whether we test with it or not, or use just the CLI. I think the CLI is probably fine too. All right. Let's see. Well, this is good. Let's commit this. Init, develop. So yeah, I guess the developer experience is you have to run the hack start dev. Obviously, you can start your own Kubernetes cluster, but this one sets. The other thing that this one does, if you run this one, actually, let's look at that really quickly. The thing that this does is it uses, well, you're going to have to install this CTL PTL. It hosts a local image repository that's super fast, that allows Tilt to host the images in the Kubernetes cluster really quickly. So when these build these container images, because that's what it's doing, it's hosting it right there in a local repository. So you can have that super fast turnaround. Yeah. Yep. A docked website would be good. The other siders. Is that what we're called now? It is still morning. It's like 10:30. Three p.m. for the other siders. Okay. Yeah, it's wait. It's 3 p.m. I hate the non-whole hour increment time zones. Those are the worst. Or is my time just off? Is it really not 10:30? No, it's 10:30. You guys are the nearsiders. Okay. We're the other siders, the nearsiders. What's the west coast of the US? What do we call those? The farsiders? Or would the farsiders be like the Southeast Asia area? You need to the hipsters. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Uh, that is what That is what I needed. Perfection. So I'm the other siders. You guys are the near siders, and we have the hipsters. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Um the other thing that we could try to deploy really quickly is the operator. This is going to be a little bit more involved. Let's see. So, we have its Docker file there. So we're going to just try to do this really quickly. We'll do this as the container running service. And this can... And this will be found at application container run. Believe we'll try that. Okay, so my stream might get a little choppy because this is gonna try to build stuff. So if it does, I apologize. Let's see, application. And then to apply, we actually have to apply a couple resources. So we'll copy and paste this. We'll do that twice. I think we're gonna have to apply two things. Oh wait. No, I meant YAML. Oops. Not those. We don't actually need to port forward the operating stuff out. It's just this. So in application, well, this actually uses its own. Yeah, hopefully it won't. Hopefully it will be fine. We'll need to go to application, container runner. Now, actually, let's go look at the make file here. So when you do make install, no, search in here. So it does manifest, customize. Ugh, gross. We're going to just do this. Can tilt run make? Can tilt run make? Let's see. There is no tilt make, is there? Patch, LSP, logs get, explain, enable, edit, Docker, disable, describe, demo, delete, create, CI, args, apply. So we're trying it, Russell. So basically, that's what we've done here so far. You can see that we have access to our UI. We're actively giving it a shot. So come back in a month and ask if it's any good. I used it one time like 2 years ago, and it was a little bit rougher than it is today. So yeah, and the nice thing is it's building our image here. So it built the image, and then it hosted the container image, and it put it in the Kubernetes cluster. Uh, um, so it's convenient, especially because this has allowed us to basically be two commands. We have this start dev script that starts a kind cluster, and then a tilt up, and there's multiple services here, or will be. Right now it doesn't build this one. All right. Let's see. And so yeah, there is the apply. Where's the apply? Tilt apply. Um, the one thing that I would have to say is that its docs are a little rough still. So we can do a customize here. Okay. I was going to say, can we do like a whole directory? It doesn't seem like the k8s YAML will do a whole directory. So maybe we just try this customize. Let's look at this. So basically, it runs customize. Let's actually see. So this is the operator, and the operator has a bunch of generated stuff for it. So let's see what we do on customize. Where is customize? We have install, uninstall, deploy, undeploy. I thought that this was... Let's just try to... It's customize building this config CRD. So let's just try that. Let's just try that and see where that gives us. That would be application. Oh, you know what we need here? Container runner. But this is not what we were doing. Let's see, make file. It's config CRD. So let's look at that. Config CRD. So this is installing the custom resource definition. So config CRD. All right. So, and it's complaining about this. Let's see. It's kind of started working on this. This is the install. This is the install of the CRDs, which just happen and they're done. But it is we have a with issues. Let's see. Image not used in any Kubernetes config container runner. So basically, we're not actually deploying the operator yet. We did deploy our custom resource definition though. So let's see if we can see that. Get CRDs, and we should see ours in here now. Yeah, null application. Cool. So, okay. So the only thing it's complaining about is that it doesn't see this container runner, this container that we built. It doesn't see it in any YAMLs. So let's apply. Let's actually do whatever make run does. Make run, make deploy. Like I said, not run. Config default. Copy that. We'll jump back over in the config. k8s YAML. Customize. What did I say it was? I said it was config default. Cool. Wait, why are you upset? Please don't be upset with me. Error in k8s YAML, duplicate YAML, custom resource definition. Oh, okay, so... Wait. This config default. It doesn't have. Oh, it also applies the CRDs? Oh, okay. So can I just get rid of this one? I'm going to comment that one out. Let's see what Tilt is saying. Okay. Image pulled. Okay, so this is the thing. Another thing that I do remember with Tilt here is that this has to. Okay, let's look at what image it's trying. It's trying to pull controller latest, and we named ours container runner. So what we need to do is just name this controller, because that's what it's looking to replace. So what Tilt will do is it will say anything that is looking for the image controller that's in this file will be pulled from this. So I think this will update that now. Let's see it run, and we'll see in just a second. So this is another weird thing is Kubernetes is still trying to pull the image, so you're still getting live logs, even though it still hasn't rebuilt yet. So it's still trying to build the new container, which is a little weird in my perspective. But so you get these things which don't mean anything in the middle of trying to rebuild. All right, error in build. Our Docker container failed to build. That's weird. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. Why would that fail? So inside the container build, it failed, but it doesn't fail outside. The reason I'm finding this interesting is it's failing in the container build, but Tilt doesn't do anything different with container build than what we do. So we just use this Docker file. We haven't been using the Docker file. We've been using make run. We've always just been cd application runner. We've just been doing make run, which doesn't actually run it in the container. So our container has been broken for a little while. Let's fix that. All right, and this is the good thing about sometimes doing stuff like this is, you know, it can help you find where you're. Let's see if that fixes it. I have a feeling it can. I haven't run tidy on it, but no, it didn't. It didn't fix it, did it? You know what we'll do? You know what we'll do? Not that. Not that. We're just going to do this to see if this fixes it. So it was complaining at step 9, which wait. what was it complaining about? Am I building the right thing even? Let's see. It copies the Go main. Copy the controller, and then we're running the Go build. Okay. So that should be this here, this Go build here. Okay, yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to run I don't know. We can actually run the go get like they were requesting. I don't feel like this should be required because our code that it's using should be pulling that in. Well, what I think it might be is how we set this up was that this was a Go workspace, but the Go workspace lives way back here, so this is kind of far in the Go workspace. And let's see. I don't know because it's inside the one workspace. Container runner internal templates. It's just complaining about this internal, these right here, but this is in the same workspace, so I don't even get that one, right? Oh, I got it. We're not copying everything. It copied the API, and internal controller, but it didn't copy templates. Shouldn't this just copy internal? Shouldn't this just copy internal? So that code doesn't exist there. That should fix it. And now it's running. I told you. But you're right, Russell. It couldn't find folders because it wasn't being copied in. This is a generated file from Cube Builder. And basically, they optimized it to a fact where it didn't pull in any custom code. Like, the only code it was going to pull in was the controller's code. I find that a bit weird. That seems a little too, yeah, over optimized. All right. So let's test this whole thing round trip really quickly. I'm going to stop tilt. I'm going to kind delete cluster. And now we are completely starting over. Failing is faster than building. Yes, but it was failing because they just didn't pull in the code. I don't know. Anything in the internal is code that you've written for the controller. I mean, like, that is by definition what you use that folder for. So I'm just not sure why you would exclude code that you wrote for your controller. I'm just not entirely sure why that would be a good failing. But so now all we have to do, hopefully, is hack start dev. As soon as this is done, all we should have to do is tilt up. And we should have our development environment running and fully operational. Good time to stretch. This doesn't take too long. Oh, it was a joke about. Sorry. Us other coasters are pretty dense when it comes to good jokes. So apologize about that. I got it. That British humor. No, that British humor. I was gonna say I've only had one cup of coffee, please. Um, actually, I might take a break and make another cup of coffee. That does sound pretty good, especially if this works. We're almost there. Istio is the biggest pain. All right, now we should just do tilt up. And there we go. Our dev environment's up and running. These are the custom resource definitions. This is the actual operator that's running. And this is our API service. Okay, cool. Cool. That also means if we come over here, we should be able to get our Swagger UI. Awesome. I like that. I really do. Especially so what I was talking to Monta about earlier was because I chose that the container runner was an operator, which I think actually makes sense. Like I'm not I'm doing whatever will get this done the quickest. We can second guess after the proof of concept is done, but I think on the proof of concept, this actually makes sense for this to be this way. That being said, as an operator, it requires running in Kubernetes, so we couldn't just do a Docker Compose, which I really like Docker Compose. I'm not actually against Docker Compose, and I think a lot of people could get away with using Docker Compose instead of trying to use Kubernetes locally. But because this is an operator, because this right here is an operator, it kind of forces our hands because this doesn't work without Kubernetes. But that being said, we could still do a Docker Compose where you just can't actually start this service. And that would be kind of fine, I think, probably. Cool. All right, well, if that's the case, the other thing that I like is especially if you get into a couple microservices where you have 5 or 6 things here, instead of using the command line to like get the logs, you can just like quickly click here. Yeah, sure, you kubectl logs is not hard. But you're like get pods and then you're like kubectl logs this, and instead I could literally just be over here. Now the only interesting thing here is this is showing me logs from all 3 of them, I guess. Yeah, it's showing logs from all 3 of them. So that could be a little confusing as to which one is saying which thing. You have the k8s extension in VS Code, don't you? Of course I do. Of course I do. What extension are you talking about? Yeah, I do. See? Of course. Please, what is this extension? Oh, I've never clicked that. Oh. Oh. Okay, but it's not letting me get like the logs. It's just showing me that like I just want to look at the pods. Oh, pods right here. Okay. This isn't giving me the logs of it. Is there not a way to like this is interesting. Actually, this is pretty cool. 3 below the extension of the one you just clicked. That's a make file. What right click options? Let's get back to pods. Load, copy, convert to template. Actually, convert to template's a pretty cool one. Oh wait, attached to Visual Studio Code. Attached to a container may execute arbitrary. Got it. Oh, that's like if you wanted to code inside the container. I thought that was like attaching to get logs. That's not exactly. Oh, maybe it's this debug attach. Okay, one second, one second. Oh, I accidentally just closed. Oops. Oops. I thought I had selected the other one. My bad. Let's get back here. Okay. Workloads, pods, this debug attach. Yeah, we don't have a debug port. Okay. I just wanted to get the. Is there a logs? So we have pods, cron jobs, daemons. No. I don't know why it can't get my k8s cluster. Huh. I mean, I don't know why they don't because like they have like how it's even deployed, which actually this is really nice because like you can do like the dash o YAML, but being able to click through these to try to like debug something, especially if there's a bunch of different ones, like the deployments, you could have 3 or 4 different deployments and you can just see the deployment. This is actually a nice, useful tool, for sure. I'm not sure why they don't have logs there though. Now maybe it's just me how I'm using it. It doesn't matter. Tilt already has all the logs aggregated for you, so. The other nice thing is literally we come over here and we update this code. Let's say let's jump into the API and you know let's say we add a function over here just like this and we save this. You'll notice over here that it's updating the API service. It doesn't rebuild anything else. It just updates the API service and redeploys it into your Kubernetes cluster. So even if it didn't get the logs, I think that's useful itself, because now you can legitimately just be testing it and seeing the new thing here. So I'm liking Tilt so far. It's a little weird setting this Tilt file up. Not gonna lie about that. And their documentation is not the worst. I feel like they could have a quick start guide that gets you a little bit better there. Um, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. All right, I'm gonna take a really quick break. I'm gonna go make another cup of coffee. And wait, I have a log option in my contacts menu. Okay. In your context menu. It has filter features. So you're saying in the clouds section? I don't have any of the clouds. I don't think kind is one of the clouds. Right click on a pod, not the deployment. Okay. Oh, there you go. There you go. I would have to. I would need to. Let me refresh a bunch. Let me go over here and refresh a bunch. There's 3 of them running, so I should change that. We are handling it. I don't like that they don't tell me which pod handled this, which pod gave me the log. Oh, I have to hit run. I see. Oh, okay. Okay. Ah. Got it. Okay. Okay. This is cool. I don't know that I'll find it super useful just because I'll probably just be using tilt, but this is nice to know. I trust all proxies. That's right. That is right. All proxies are trusted. All right. I am going to run and grab a cup of coffee. That's over here. Where did I write the be right back? Right here. All right. I'm going to be right back. I need to make another cup of coffee, do a few jumping jacks, and then we'll get back into some more code. Made some good progress, though. I'm back. Sorry, took a little bit longer than it was supposed to. Let's delete that. There we go. Yeah, we need to find some way in Tilt to. I put it on its own thing. Distinguish which pod it comes from. I mean, for debugging locally, we probably should just be running with one. So for the API, we just did this right here, and we probably should just do this, which is cool. Tilt is already applying it, which is nice, but now we know what container it comes from because there's only one. But all right. Oh, what are we doing? For user service. Oh, Russell, if you're there, I need your personal and professional opinion here. I hate user services. I absolutely hate user services because it feels like the one thing we are always recreating. So I was playing around with Jin because Gorilla Mux is deprecated now, or archived really. They couldn't find a maintainer for it. It's my favorite go-to. I'm using Jin just because it seemed like the best maintained thing out there for Go for an HTTP web server. And as part of this, I started like modeling. Have you guys ever seen? I think it's called Dough. Bun. Started modeling some Bun SQL user things. Now I have been like on and off thinking about this over the last week, because I'm not sure how I want to deal with this. And basically, at a high level, let me draw this. At a high level, we have users, we have organizations, and these users can have roles inside the organizations. But a user can be part of two organizations. And so I guess I'm trying to figure out this in like the easiest way possible. I'm because I don't want to over design it because I know how to do this in theory, but I'm trying to come up with something that would be really simple because I would like, initially, I don't even care if people can collaborate. We can just say you have a user account and that's your user account. But then the idea is I'd like to bring in the ability to collaborate, which is what this org does, is it's like, okay, you can invite other people to join you in collaborating on this thing. So I'd like to eventually, somewhat soon, support organizations. But then you have this thing where, well, they can be multiple. And one way that I really like doing it is that a user's that you actually do not ownership, but you actually do participation in an org based off of RBAC. So basically, if they have any roles in an org, then they belong to that org. So I like that. But that means then I would have to set up all of that stuff, which sounds like way too much work at this point. Have users separate and roles are per org. That's what I was saying. Effectively, and membership in an org is based off of whether you have roles for it. So then I was just playing around. You can kind of think of these as tables. So I'm using an ORM bun. Uh, I've never used bun before, but it seemed like it was going to be the easiest thing to get something going. You can use SQLite and then Postgres in production pretty simply. So I'm just going to go with that, where locally we just use SQLite. And when we set this up in production, we'll use a Postgres database. So basically, I had this user where they can have an ID, a name, and some emails, an org, which basically has an ID. I think that there eventually there could be like billing and stuff like that on an org. I was thinking also we were going to do like an owner ID, which is going to be a user. And that's going to map to a user. Okay. Is there not a pre? I couldn't find. I googled for like a pre-made user library system. I couldn't find one that looked decent. Because you're right. That was my whole complaint is I didn't want to do this again. I didn't want to like every single application I've ever done, it feels like I have done this thing. And I think the problem comes down to is it has a lot of like, well, how do you want to deal with authorization, not authentication, but authorization, and part of how this marries to whatever is how you do authorization. Which I don't want to set up authorization just yet because that's difficult. And not like difficult, it's a lot of work that isn't needed for the MVP. MVP, I don't even need an org. The only reason I need orgs is so that eventually people can share. And what I don't want to get into is like the DigitalOcean trap. DigitalOcean didn't think about the orgs at all, and they spent like a year trying to shoehorn what they already had to support people being able to share their account with multiple people. Yeah, it's not hard. It's busy work. It's a lot of busy work. So I'm trying to come up with like the simplest thing I can do today that will take a week that then I can expand on. Like I have a good path forward, and I was just struggling with that because I hadn't thought in that way for a while. Like really minimal, like super minimal. I'd love to just support users first and then be able to add the org stuff on later, but I do want the sharing eventually. So if we have this, then we have a user table, we have an org table that we'll create later. Actually, so what I was kind of thinking is every user gets their own org. So when user Merrick joins, there's the Merrick org, which gets created behind the scenes. And then there'd have to be like a user to org mapping table, but we don't really need this if we have role-based access. So my question is, can we just get rid of this and say this is all we'll have for right now, and then when we get role-based access, that will define ownership? Is that an okay thing? I think that's fine, because then we can say, well, if you have a role in the org, you're part of it. If that role is admin or if that role is whatever, then you're part of that organization. I think that's what I'd like to do. Does that sound reasonable? And then we keep our table pretty simple. We have two tables. We have users and we have orgs. And basically, well, I wanted to do orgs using or roles. Yeah, okay. I think you're right. I think that will type so then the role table will have right. I'm not worried about doing all the things that an org would have. Like, orgs can have lots of different information. That wasn't my worry. My worry was just making a good foundation that we can build on later without forgetting something too painful. So in the roles table here, we're gonna need a. Do we do it this way where it's like, well, we need an ID for the role. A name, so the role name, which is just a pretty name like admin. We need the org ID. So that's what org it goes with. And then if you want to actually link this, so like if you get a role and you have it, you do org this where it belongs to, and you join org ID this on ID. So this isn't actually, this is the same thing. This is like combined together as far as I've understood with Bun. This is, so when you get a role, it actually populates this because it does a join for you. So what's up, David? How are you doing? Uh, Yeah, we actually just set up Tilt. If you're not familiar with it, it's pretty cool. So our whole ecosystem here is running in Kubernetes, and as we make updates, it gets recompiled on Tilt. I'm actually liking Tilt so far. I'm sure that we'll get into aspects that we don't like partially its documentation, but so far it seemed pretty good this morning. And right now we're just talking about how we're structuring our data a little bit. All right, and thank you for the follow. It has kind of failed. That was supposed to read. Why isn't it So you get this nice little null logo here at the top. Oh, and there's a bunch of black text. It's black text. I'm an idiot. This was our first live demo in production, and thank you for being a trooper. So the thing we did earlier this month was we made an AI, a generative AI that writes a custom message to new followers. It has some problems, like it just wrote it in black text, but the story is there. The story is there. Amidst a dense forest, David PRV stumbled upon a group of adventurers. They were in dire need of a skilled archer. I guess, David, you are a skilled archer. And David PRV was just the one they were looking for. As they journeyed together, they faced many challenges and endangered. And emerged victorious. Impressed by their bravery and camaraderie, David PRV pledged to follow them on their quest, knowing that together they could conquer any obstacle. I apologize. We're going to have to work on that. Because it was supposed to be white text and maybe a little bit bigger. That was a little small to read, so we'll work on that. The text was really tiny, and it was. Now, I think a lot of the time my screen is dark, so I think we'll go with white text instead of black text. That was an oversight on my part. Maybe we'll do a gray, so that way if I'm on a white website for some reason like this, it should stand out. But yeah, that was way too tiny of text. But that was really cool. It all worked. I'm excited. We have our own custom Twitch alerts. It is open source, so you can go check it out as well. That's not what this is. By the way, thanks for the follow. Okay, do you think you'll ever want something like resource groups within an org, as the roles might need to belong to that resource group? I don't think... Maybe the text needs a box with contrasting background color. We could do that. I don't think that a lot of streams do that. I don't watch a whole lot of streams, but maybe they do that. Ours has more text than a lot of streams do, because a lot of times it's just like a new follower and they don't have like this custom text. So maybe you're right, with the custom text we'll need that, because the alert really is unique by the fact that everyone gets a custom follow message, which is pretty awesome. So maybe you're right on that does need to be emphasized a little bit more. I like the idea. We also need to work on an animation for it, because it just kind of appears and disappears. So maybe I'll do that one of these next streams. An option for text with outlining shadowing would be good. You're right, 100%. Oh, a lot do. I thought you said a lot to do. A lot do. Some opt for text with outlining, shadowing too. Okay. Well, we'll work on that. I really want to quickly circle back to what we were talking to prior to that, though. Again, thank you, David. Sorry that your message didn't get seen. We will fix that shortly. Do you think you'll ever want something like resource groups within an org? I think yes. And this is why, like, I struggled with this, because each time I went down it, I was like, I have to do a bunch of busy work right now, or else I'm just shooting myself in the foot in the future. Because, like, if I'm thinking roles here, even like this, if, you know, let's say, let's say that we have a column roles, which just is like an I32, we'll say it's an int64, that, you know, we just use binary flags to set a bunch of different roles. So any role can be represented in this number. The problem comes is if we try to do resource groups, this kind of gets not in a good place. This doesn't put us in a great place at all. But I was trying to keep the busy work down. If you don't know, I'd like the first initial MVP of this done by the end of July, so that people can start using it. And when they start using it, they won't have access to roles. They won't have access to sharing their org. It will just be an individual user that can use it and try it out and give me feedback. And why July? Well, because I like setting deadlines for myself, so I have something to push to. Because I like the time boxing, because it can be too easy to then over-engineer and a year later still be working on your MVP. This kind of is a forcing function. I might not release it at July, but it will be August if I don't, if it slips for some reason. Just create users then? Can I create all this stuff on the... But if I just create users... See, I was going to just create this right here, Russell. And the reason I was going to do this is when a user signs up, they were going to get an org ID. Or they were going to get their own org. Let's just say this was Merrick, and it was going to be Merrick's org. And Merrick's org was going to have the org ID of... the owner ID of me. And so at least everybody's working in this construct of an org. So when we add this, we don't have to populate new orgs for everybody. And that way, internally, everything can be owned by the org. Because if we skip this, things are owned by the user. And I think that's what gives you the painful migration, is because, when you start a new application, it's owned by the user and not by the org. And in this way, you can say everything's owned by the org. But so I think we'll just do this then. This is effectively just creating users. They just get their own org each time they create one. Does that make sense? Did I simplify it, or is this overcomplicating in your eyes? Is it much more to create a resource group for each org? Maybe not. Maybe I'm oversimplifying. Okay, so how do we want to structure that? So we only have one right now, which is the application deployment, where it basically just runs a container for you. And it might build the container, but that's not really a resource group. That's just a nice to have if you don't have a Docker file. So would we do the resource groups like this, where they have an ID, they have a org ID, they have a org, and like maybe a name. Is this all? ID, name, org. Okay, yeah. Again, this is not actually in the database. These things where where it's a pointer, this is just when the ORM goes to populate the resource. It's how it gets the org to fill in for this. So, anyways, okay, I think we're on the same page here. Save it. So now it's actually the resource group that owns it, not the org. We need to make sure that we do that. All right, I think this puts us in a good place, as well as pretty simple. Basically, when a user signs up, we auto-generate these two things, and they're just placeholders, but they keep us from needing to do weird things in the future with weird migrations. Not saying that won't happen. It will happen. It always happens to me. But we try. Right. Every user has an org. They can't see the org. They can't change the name of the org. Nothing. And that org has one resource group with one resource. Yeah. And this will also allow us to set constraints on this, because this should have limits. So initially we'll have like the number of containers. I'm not going to put this in here right now. Each person's going to be allowed one for the beta. You can have one deployment, and I'm not even going to have a way to pay for more. Like, that's just it. That's your limit. You get it for free, and yeah. But yeah, everything is 1-for-1 for starters. Yep. Okay. Cool. Now, let's see if we can't get this all wired. The other thing that I'm doing here is I'm trying to do my monolith microservices here. So you'll notice I have my user service. It's in the API service right now. I think I'm just going to try to leave this as part of the API service for right now, so we don't have to do the pass-through. If I don't do this, I end up in this place where I have the users back here, and I have my API service here. And then I just have basically a bunch of pass-through HTTP requests, which seems really dumb right now. So I'm just building it, but I'm building it separate. So it will all start with the same. Let's see, same main.go. But what I'm this is again me just testing this out. I've never done this in Go, but this is a good. You want more than one container? Create more users. I mean, yes. There's ways to get around it. I'm going to have hard limits on the number of users in the beta. And initially, I'm going to do it on invite only. So I'm going to do it like Gmail did it. Basically, if you got invited, you could also invite somebody. So, yeah. And then you can also sign up for a waiting list. Those two things. So basically, anybody in my Discord that wants an invite can have an invite. And then they're going to be able to invite people if they want. But and yes, that means if you want to invite yourself another email account, you can. I hit the max number of people, and then invites are going to not work anymore. If people want to abuse it, everybody will lose out. So you can invite second me, and second me can invite third me. Yes. You know what, Russell? You're getting the last invite. The last invite's going out to Russell. I'm joking. I will love to see how you guys break it. I will also love somebody that wants to show me security vulnerabilities if they find any, or more aptly, when they find some. We'll fix them right away. I have to save face. I'll invite you. Can't wink very well. I'll invite you to your own little sandbox on different computers, hosted in China. Yep. I'll invite you. Don't worry about it. Let's do the create user. Okay. So we are going to do a gen. I haven't done gen. I haven't done gen things very much. It's a little weird how this works. So basically, you return this, but inside of this, you return a function. So basically, this handler function, you return this. This is what everybody does. So I haven't done gen before, so this is going to probably be a little rough. Kali should be able to be used as a base image for a container. Absolutely. Absolutely, you should be able to do it. You should be able to run it. So yeah. You should 100% be able to do that. So my general thought here is I don't care whether it's a web service or not. In theory, my thought is the most useful thing it's going to be for people, especially initially, is your Node web service, your whatever web server that you want to be out there. I think that's the most useful thing. But if you wanted something that's going to scrape a website, or like you want to run down detector and you want to have that, great, do that. And it's just scraping your website, making sure that it's not down. I think those things are also useful and not necessarily a web interface. Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking about with Kali. I think it should be fine. You should be able to run it, and you shouldn't be able to access anything that you shouldn't be able to access. I have to be able to provide that as a cloud, and if I can't provide that security as a cloud, then that's a problem. So bring it on. All right, so we have this. What is this type? It's a router group. So we're going to take this gin router group, and we're going to add that to. I thought that I wanted to make the controllers kind of their whole separate thing. So how I'm going to add these on here was I was just going to do add all controllers, basically pass in a router group. Um, as a gin router group, and then we can add all of these things onto that. If it fails tenancy protection, you can mark it as an open cloud. uh, I'm pretty sure I can market it as an open cloud anyhow, but I don't think that's how I that style of open cloud is exactly how I want to market it. Um, this is not exactly at all what I wanted. Okay, let's delete that. This is the router. So let's do the create user. So we'll do router group post users and create user. Yeah. So this should add this. Let's update our Swagger stuff. I wish, and this is where I actually think C Sharp, Java, and languages that have a strong runtime and big reflection libraries do this better. I don't. This is liable to be wrong because it's just updated by me. Where I would actually much prefer, I think C Sharp has a really nice, like the .NET Core. I'd like the Swagger to be generated off of my functions. I think that's amazing because it gives you Swagger that's actually represents your code, um, instead of just whatever I typed here. The other thing that we need to do here is, well, we can delete this. The other thing that we need to do here is set up our database. We might do that as an init for right now. I kind of don't like inits generally. But within Go, it's kind of the way to do some of this. If you fill in comments, it takes them over auto-generated ones. Huh. So I mean, I like. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. It's a difficult problem. I think AIs. There should be an AI that marries these two and says, "Hey, they're different." I wouldn't even care if it was like, "Hey, what the code returns and what this returns are different. Fix it." That would be fine. Um, so what we need to do is set up bun. Here we go. We'll do it in memory for right now. That means every time we restart, we'll have a new user. Um, that's fine. That's fine. Why are you not liking in it? Oh, sorry. There we go. We might need to actually import this. And then we'll go mod tidy it. Not there, though. Why is it just like could not import? No required module provides. Why not? Why not? What's the quick fix? Oh, there we go. I was gonna say I ran tidy. Oh, maybe it was still running. Maybe it was taking a while. Okay, okay. All right, there we go. I don't know ASP.NET or .NET Core very well, so like I just know of its existence, so I don't know how it functions exactly well. I just know that Java and C# have what I've seen. I think is a little bit better support for those types of things because this doesn't work unless if you fill it in. Like even like the route, it's like why do I need to fill in the route? You should know what route it is. Um, all right, so in create, I think we have to actually register models with this. Yeah, okay, so we have our models. Having model, you can create and drop tables. So I'm assuming that this is like create if not exists. So let's try this. I don't know entirely. Kind of thought it should handle this for me. It's an ORM. Um, so it doesn't have what? Oh wait, don't tell me. Does open return? Okay, let's try this. Um, it's just using DB here. I'm assuming that's just this DB context that we got here, where we opened this. Oh, if check Cody. Oh, really? Oh, that's right. You told me to check out Kodi. What was that again? Source graph, Kodi? Sour graph? Sour graph, Kodi. Yeah, I know knows your code. Sign up for free. 1 second. Cone of silence. All right, so I have an account. Let's I think I need to install it over here. Kodi. Did it have an E? It doesn't have an E, does it? It's source graph, not sour graph. I don't know why. They upload your code? Huh, interesting. Yeah, I don't have any closed source here, so. What I don't get is this. Oh, do I need to call begin on this? Um, Connecting to a database. So that's what we did. Having an SQL, you can create a BunDB using the corresponding SQLite. Okay, well that's going from like SQL to see executed queries in standard out. You can do a query hook. Okay. I don't really want to do selects. I wanted to use it as an ORM. So it should be building the tables. I don't know how it's building these defining models. Right. So this is the model, but it doesn't have new create table. DB doesn't. Well, not my DB. Oh, it's a SQL DB. Do I need to open up a? I think I need to do this here. I think this. I need a new bun DB that I can build it off of the SQL DB. I missed a step. That's my fault. Give me that bun. Give me that bun DB. Not entirely sure what I'm doing here, but I am doing stuff. All right. We have Kodi here. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Let me go back to source graph here really quickly. I installed it. But it's asking for like an access token. So Okay, I'm gonna have to cone of silence you guys. Cone of silence. Sorry about that. I need to go to settings. Settings. Access tokens. It's literally called access tokens. There we go. Generate a new token for Cody. Copy that, put that into there, click the sign in button. Done. Let me close these windows before I leak my access tokens again. All right, I think I'm good to go here. Yeah. All right, so Cody isn't a co-pilot. It doesn't type in here for you. It's just things that you can ask about its code. So let's say, do my comments match the Swagger output? Oh, oh. The base path comment specifies API v1, but that path prefix is not included in the Swagger output. The paths are listed as users, apps, etc. without the prefix. Oh, so this isn't necessarily my bad. This is Swagger's bad. Now, what I love about Tilt is it's sitting here running, and we can literally just go and check out what our latest thing is, which is pretty cool. So it's not picking up the base path. Oh, it does put base path URL here, but it's not using it in here. I thought that that was going to fix this problem. Like, I'm just not entirely sure why I should have to copy and paste this here. But this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. I like this. It's pointing out that I don't really know exactly what my API should be returning yet. That's fair. That's fair. I don't really know what it should be returning yet. All right, let's try to use this bundb. db dot, that's looking better. Create, new create table. Well, it's been a little while since I've looked at Swagger, but it feels right. It does say base URL here, but it doesn't seem to include that here in this. Like, should it not include the full URL here? Also, this shouldn't be example. I mean, I just threw together Swagger this morning, so like, it's wrong. It has a few good points that it's made. Also, the other thing that I found out is I have to do this swag init every single time I make a change. It only generates those docs. It doesn't generate them when I build the code, which is a shame. Now, the nice thing is that Tilt rebuilds it for me. I'm actually really liking Tilt so far. So now we can see we have our user post here. Cool. I don't like how Swagger works with Gen. It works equally poorly with Mux, so it's not really a thing about Gen. It's just how it works with Go in general. I'm just going to ask Cody again. There's also recipes. Oh, what are these? Oh, explain code selected. One second. That's kind of cool. So this is kind of like Copilot X, right? Isn't this kind of what GitHub Copilot X is doing? I like this. I like this. Especially, so sometimes this could be really useful or helpful. Sometimes when you're reading somebody else's code or code you haven't been looking at for a while, and you're like, I'm not sure I understand it. This is a little too detailed. Let's see if they explain selected at a high level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see how it does it. The end connection in an in-memory SQL database and creates the tables for modules defined in the. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That is going to be super. It can generate code too. Oh, okay. Generate release notes. Woot. Smell code. I don't want to click this. I'm not going to click this right now because I think the smell would not be a good smell. This is not dandelions and tulips type of code here. Oh, yep. Nope. Don't need to smell this code. Not right now. Not right now. Okay, how do we create a new ORM model? It's dot model. I'm just gonna copy and paste this. I'm hoping this is a create if not exists. Like, how does it do migrations and stuff? This feels a little weird as an ORM. Um, to be completely honest, feels a little weird as an ORM. Why doesn't it? I have users in models. It's right here. Oh, I have user. Uh, yeah, I have user right here. Go's usually pretty good about doing imports. This would be no channel Eddington API, not docs. API users models. Oh, I guess it was probably wanting models dot user. That's why. I haven't done Go for a little while. That hurts. All right. I hope this is a. Oh, it needs a context, so maybe we don't do this on an init. That's a bummer. This kind of feels weird as an ORM. I feel like I should just register all the models at the beginning, and it should handle all that stuff for me. Because it does do migrations. So it can't be that you do reset, but new table also seems weird. Migrations. You can write migrations to change database schema or data or text file with SQL. Oh, so this just has you redo migrations is just okay. So this isn't a real ORM as far as most ORMs go. Okay. This is Pretty bad practice, but this is an in memory. We're just testing it out. So Cody will smell the smell. I am sure of it. Let's do Cody smell. How does my code smell? It's not good. Oh, okay. This isn't so bad. This isn't. Oh, you only get 5? Okay. Well, I was gonna say this isn't so bad. Yes, I understand that the database in it is and cannot be deferred or handled gracefully if there is an error. I stated that before this. Okay. Yes, I implement 505 501 not implemented. 501 is completely fine. This isn't a code smell. What do you mean proper status code? 501 is a proper status code. Yeah. That's a. Get out of here. Get out of here, Cody. No error handling for the database setup. Okay, yeah, again, I get it. There's error handling. Oh, I think it's this. Does this return an error? I don't know. No, this. Yeah, this it's probably this that it's complaining about. Let's copy this. Now there's plenty of error handling for everybody. Let's see. Declared and not used. That's right. I don't even know. You know, we're just underscoring that garbage. If we do that, we got to do this. All right. There we go. Okay. Yep. No validation. Okay. These are all things. We got this. We got this. I like Cody so far. This is kind of cool. I mean, and all of these things were valid. All of these things were valid because, um, they were things we knew about, but it's a new code base, so valid things. Um, yeah, I thought it was a decent review. I have 501 because it's not implemented yet. Should you have 501s? Generally, you shouldn't because you should just add the ones that you have, and 501 should be something that is returned by like your proxy for a function that's not returned. Um, it's but I think it's valid for right now. Um, but yeah, no, I think that was a good overview. I like that. I'm gonna have to add it to my video. Actually, that's one announcement. I am not streaming Tuesdays and Thursday this week because I have some videos like my AI one. I might stream. It's up in the air whether on Tuesdays or Thursdays I stream for the next 2 weeks probably because I have some videos I need to get out that I've been putting off that I'm going to be working on those nights. And one of those is my AI one, and I might try to add Cody in there. I might actually stream the AI stuff. I'm not going to be working on any real stuff. I'm just going to be running tests of AIs on how well they generate code to use, and working on the videos. So again, my streaming for the next 2 weeks might be a little bit off. Just during the weeks, the Saturday, Sunday ones will still be the exact same. I have a lot of videos. I have my next Rust one. I have my next 2 Rust ones actually recorded. I'm working on editing those. Hopefully both of those will drop next week. I have one on the AWS. I actually think everybody's really going to like this one. I need to do a lot of work on it though. There's been a lot of misconception about AWS dropping microservices and saying they're horrible. And so I have a response to that, but I worked pretty hard on that one, so I just have some videos I gotta make and get out. Yeah, so far I really like Kodi. It is a decent overview. I'll have to oh, the translate to a different language. I like 1 second. That's cool. I mean, this is garbage code because button isn't. I mean, it caught some pretty good stuff. I mean, obviously, button isn't a Rust library, so this is garbage. But the generic Go stuff, it did actually really well. It used the macro panic. It used, yeah, it translated stuff to snake case, used unwrap instead of these generic error handling that just panicked anyways. That did pretty well. That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. All right. What were we doing? Oh, we're adding a new user. Actually, I think we're kind of to the place where we can start actually doing this, right? So we have a database, we have a user. Actually, let's also create the other two tables. We have two other tables to create here. So you said that I can use them for code generation. Let me deactivate Copilot. So is it working now? Does Kodi just run and suggest stuff? Or you said Control Alt slash. So that's just bringing me here. It's just chat. It's just chat. It's not generating code. What was this? This was resource groups. I'm not saying that they couldn't generate code without, with just a little bit more update, but it doesn't seem to be writing code. But maybe I have it misconfigured. It always could be a me problem. Let me check really quickly there. Chatbot, fix up code, recipes. Yeah, so it doesn't have it doesn't have coding as you type. Oh, okay. Let me try that. So let's see. Let's give it something. Let's give it something difficult, a little bit challenging. Create new user in database connection. We'll just say in database. Control Alt forward. It thinks that is a fix-up request. I mean, this is borderline acceptable. I think this is borderline acceptable. I like as you type, but like that was fine. Let's see. It got indenting wrong, but that's easy enough. Well, it's implemented now, so let's see how this goes. Let's see. It got the post from specified key from a posted URL encoded form or multi-part from which it exists. Otherwise, it will return an empty string. Okay. Why does it not like this one? Oh, because we don't have email. Yeah, there's no thing of email. It messed up a little bit. It was emails. It was a slice. Um, but you know what? A new user is only going to have one email. You should be able to add more later was the idea, but what we'll do is we'll just make this a slice here. Cannot convert from email value of type string to type string. That's right. I almost typed let. I've written too much Rust at this point. Rust has ruined me. All right. So what we need to do is just get this string here. So we'll just run make here. We'll just do this. Let's see. We'll do string like that. And then take this. And that should work, right? That's gonna make no, because this actually makes it of a type size. We'll just do a literal then. So let's just do emails equals string c dot post from. And then we'll just use this here. Oh wait, we don't need the make. Sorry. I thought this is what I did. Maybe I screwed something up. I feel like I should just do this in here. Okay. I must have screwed something up. All right. Cool. So then the user model is going to have that db new insert. Let's see, undefined db. Oh. This function doesn't capture this db. Not really Cody's fault. What is this called? What is this database? It's a BunDB. Can we do this with Gin? I haven't used Gin. But yeah, it cannot use this because Gin is looking for this handler func, which doesn't have this passed into it. So how do we pass in information to Gin? How does this controller have access to the database? That's what we're going to have to look up. Sorry, I have not used Gin before. All right. Let's see. The only thing that I can think of, just off the top of my head here, is doing this, which, it's kind of gross, but maybe it's fine. Actually, this is probably good because of the database stuff. We'll just create a struct here. Type user. Okay. So then instead of having this as an init, we'll have this as a new function. So this works out. Okay. In the future, we can then pass in new things where it's like the where it's stored, the Postgres database, things like that, which will be cool. Okay. Awesome. And then add controllers is going to add this because this is going to become a user controller. Oh, wait. This is the router group. Sorry, not that. It's this. And now this should have access to u.database if database was an object here. Okay, let's do that. This is probably how they do it. I don't know. I just made it up. What was it again? It was bun.db. Yeah. So now we should be able to do u.database here. See if Cody can generate this now. Are you asking if it can generate the rest of this? Um, done there. What does this return? It returns 2. Okay, yeah. We're just going to underscore that for right now. Cool. All right. So we have a create user. We insert a new user. We then also need to insert new roles. Let's see. We need to create a org for them. Let's create all these things up here. So we'll do org. I'm going to turn Copilot back on. Even when we use Cody, since it doesn't step on it, it will be fine. Let's try Cody here. Create new org for user. Oh, you meant the struct. Sorry about that. We'll try it with the next struct. Needs to work on this indenting problem. Wait. The only things that it needs to do is plan ID. I don't think we need a plan ID, actually, but it should have done a plan ID. And the owner ID should be the user ID. I like what it came up with here. Let's see. Unknown name. Oh, yeah, we don't actually give a name of the org. It's not really good about knowing my code. It didn't know what this struct was. I get that it was confused as to what an owner versus open the dropdown. Is it passing over my model? No, it has the models right there. It doesn't seem to know my model very well. I mean, I understand it's a new thing, but it is seeming to struggle to know my code, which I think is kind of one of its like selling points. Is like it's supposed to know your code. It doesn't seem to know my code. Now, the interesting thing here is for these, I don't know for like this. Oh, oops. For this user model, the ID is auto increment. When does this get generated? Do I have to? I'm assuming I need to save it and then I can get it out. So I almost need to. I think I need to do this actually. I think I need to do this. I need to get the result, and I think I need to use the result. I'm hoping that SQL result. I don't think that that's my new user. One second. I need to text my wife really quickly. All right. So this returns us result structure, which last insert ID. Oh, that's actually all I need is the last insert. Generally from the auto increment. So it actually has what I need. So I can take this res and say this should be the res dot last insert ID. Nice. Should our orgs have a name? Let's make the orgs have a name. It's not important. But they will have a name eventually. It's fluff, but whatever. We'll have a name. That's fine. Username / org. That's like the everybody's personal org they create. Maybe it'll just be their name. Honestly, it can't be based off of a name. It could be their email. It could be their email. You got held for bullying, you bully. Oh, because you used the word creep. You called me a creep. I think you're right that this is scope creep. Let's just remove name. Let's just remove name. It's scope creep. They don't need a name for right now. It's just fluff. We're not going to do it. Because then we also have to think of how to keep them unique, which I was going to do it based off of their email, but you know, it just... yeah, so... This itself can return an error? This itself can return an error. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm not checking this error. We probably should do that. We're just, I guess, yeah. We'll just return a bad request, return, and we're done. Now we need to do owner ID. Okay, what else do we need in here? Plan ID. What was plan ID? Oh, yeah, this is scope creep too. Let's delete this. This was me thinking of like, oh, they could be on the free plan or the... No. No. Not doing that. So all they have is the owner ID. Everything else should be auto-generated. So, okay, cool. We should probably return an internal. Might not be a bad request. This would be like our database had a problem. But, you know, I'm going to leave it for right now. I don't know if this error will ever happen. No, auto. We must listen. We must listen to our AI overlords. All right. Good. What do you not like about this? No new variables on left side. Oh, okay. So we'll do the same thing with this here. So now our org's ID is going to be our resource group. Right. So we'll do resource group. Org ID is our last name as default. Is that all we need? Well, we obviously need to do this out here. What am I doing? No. I'm doing org ID. Resource group is going to be this here. Right? I feel like there was more in here. Org ID is auto incremented and name. Yep. Okay. Nope, that's it. All right. And then this is going to complain. I don't care if that errors. We'll catch that error. We don't need the resource back from it. Beautiful. Now, the really beautiful thing is that this is actually already running for us. How cool is that? How cool is that? I like the premise of Tilt. It's almost like you know how like a lot of UI frameworks allow you to hot reload like while you're working on it. It's almost like hot reloading your Kubernetes application while you're working on it. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And now we should be able to create a user. Let's create a new one here. HTTP. We should create a CLI too. I'm not doing that quite yet. Let's see. This is on port 9000. This is something I need. I know that you can do like things in here like variables like port as a port. But I'm not that good with it yet. We'll figure that out. One thing I want to figure it out because one thing I'd like to do for this project is to export this into JSON and put it with the project. So anybody that's working on it can use this Swagger and should be able to use it with what's in production as well, as long as they have a authentication key. So we're gonna save this to. We need to come up with a name. I don't know whether I love Eddington or hate Eddington. We could just call it Null Cloud too. That seems. Null Cloud seems too specific to my channel. I would love for people to use this outside of my channel, but like it might be the Null Cloud that the Eddington project powers. I don't know. Naming's hard. This should fail. I believe it overwrites the one. But it's creating the image in our local. So the local registry is in our Kubernetes cluster. So that registry gets deleted whenever we do a new cluster. Anyhow, it might be creating a bunch of ones. But we should be able to check that. We could just. I don't know the commands to check the registry, the container registry off the top of my head. Like I don't know how to curl get all the images that it has, but we can do that and check it. Does Tilt have a way to? Yeah, see the registry is sitting there at 5005. But I don't see a way. I don't see a way. I could be wrong though. All right, this should fail if we send it. Does the I didn't even try that. Uh, 5005. It does not appear to have one. We could do like index.html. I mean, it is hitting something. It just doesn't seem to be serving anything. Yeah. All right, this should fail because we should have to send username and password. That's not what I was expecting to fail. API v1 users. That is not how I expected it to fail. Localhost 9000. Yeah. Yeah. Localhost 9000. Localhost 9000. API v1 user. User. Something's wrong in the code. Something is wrong in the code. Oh, I know. I know. We never actually use this thing. We actually never create a user controller. Oh, and then we never call add all controllers. Although we should call add all controllers. Maybe we should make this part of the new. When you create one of these things, I'm going to do that for right now. So we're not like, no. I'll make it a second step. Okay, let's, I like it that way because then when, the whole idea of this is kind of its own microservice, and we can move it out when we want it to. When we want it to be a microservice and not a part of the whole thing. So here we have our group AV1. What we're going to do is create. I think we'll create it out here. User controller. One second. Maybe I did something funky in the user controller. Oh. It shouldn't need a... It is just returning a new user controller. Okay. Yeah, I did do something funky there. Package. What package was that? I feel like it should be... Is it also controllers? And then I have a package controllers over here. So this... Maybe I call this package... I like it being named what the directory is. So I guess what we have to do here is... Yeah, GitHub action. GitHub Copilot knows what I'm doing here. There we go. What? Undefined? No, it's not. No, it's not. There we go. All right, now what we can do in here inside of V1, under users is we will do user controller dot add all controllers. And so I actually thought we might do this right here, exactly what they're saying. And then actually in here, we assume that everything under that is under the path users. Which means I guess we just do this. Our create user will be under the slash, just the base path. All right, that should be deployed. Actually, for it to take effect, we need to do swagger init, or swag init. V2 catalog. Let me try. Localhost 5005 V2 catalog. Yes, it does. So we have our two images here. These are the repositories, though. Does it have more than just the latest? I feel like this would only need to have the latest. It doesn't have, like, does it have 20 of these controllers or not? Thanks for finding this, though, by the way. It's cool. All right, now our this still says not found. All right, so v2 image name. So we'll just do API service tag list. Tags. Been lied to again. So yeah, it is building a list of tags. Though honestly, it's rebuilt more times than that. I'm wondering if it's purging them as it goes. Because it's rebuilt 20 or 30 times. I mean, every single time I save this file, it rebuilds. So I don't know. Let's see. API v1 users. And we're posting. And it's saying not found. 404 not found. Okay. I feel like I'm actually adding it now. Right. I would have expected one or hundreds. That's what I'm saying. Like 3 is not. I have in the course of today, I have probably rebuilt this at least 50 times. See you, Russell. Thanks for hanging out. You have a good weekend as well. We could just pass v1 in here and then update this to be users. That will rebuild the API service as soon as it's ready. Now, in theory, we should also see another version, which we do. We see a couple new versions. Oh, but they're purging them. They are active. We were up to 5. They're actively purging. Last insert ID is not supported by this driver, but it doesn't matter. And you know why it doesn't matter? This means it worked. This means it worked. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. We've got a pretty good development experience set up here. Yeah. And so we can start just cooking. Let's see how we export this. Documentation. There is a export, right? Export. Here we go. And we're going to save this in where's home code Eddington. We'll create a new we'll put it under hack for right now. Yeah, there we go. So now this will also be saved in our project together with other things. Nice. Let's make a commit here. Wait. Oh. All right. All right. Cool. Dev setup empowered. Nice. I think I'm gonna call it a day as well for today. Gotta go do stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'll probably stream some during the week, but it will be on and off and hit or miss because, like I said, I really have some videos that I need to make, and so I need to go do those and just focus on those. So streaming for the next 2 weeks is going to be limited during the week. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you guys had a fun time. And I will see you guys. Later. Well, tomorrow. We have our stream tomorrow. You better join. So I'll see you tomorrow.